Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Patita Prabhu. Okay, get the guitar out and we're ready to go. That's interesting. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Dwaya Goro More Duma Benake Dayalo Chakisam Sare Machita Bhavana Hedu Moshama Tita Brahmo Napai Beha Haha Brahmo Chananda Rivananda Suke Ripavalakan Akora Ami Baruduke Daya Koros Japati Adwaita Goswami Tanda Kripa Pole Pai Tanya Haswaru Sanatana Uparaduna Matayuga Shiva Doya Koro Shiyachaya Ramashiriva Chandra Sangamage Nakotamutas Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Joya Koro Doma Benake Dayalo Chakisam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paravidikacharya Alsuteta Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Savaya Chalananda Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Huilas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopikapanath Sayam Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuram Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Srimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Vasudaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Bhajarni Nirvashesha Shunyavadi Paschatyateja Tarni. So we're going to continue with the Jaiva Dharma, and we are hearing like a summary study of the Nectar Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in this part of the Jaiva Dharma, and this is called Abhideya, how to achieve Krishna, or how to achieve Krishna consciousness. So, without further, actually, we'll read the translation first. My dear Lord, please be merciful to me, because who can be more merciful than your lordship within these three worlds? Your incarnation is just to reclaim the conditioned fallen souls, but I assure you will not find a more fallen soul than me. Therefore my claim is first. My dear Lord Nityananda, you are always joyful in spiritual bliss. Since you always appear very happy, I have come to you because I am most unhappy. If you kindly put your glance over me, I may also become happy. My dear Advaita Prabhu, husband of Sita, you are so kind. Please be kind to me. If you are kind to me, naturally, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda will also be kind to me. I pray for the mercy of Swarup Damodar, the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Bhatta Raghunath Goswami, Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, and Lokanath Prabhu. I, Narottama Das, pray to the merciful Srinivasa Acharya, and I always desire the company of Ramachandra. So, let us go to the Jaiva Dharma. So, Om Gana Timidanda Shah, Gananjana Shalakya Chakshur Unmeritam Yena, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So now I am going to share the screen. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So there we go, and there's the screen. Let's move that over a little bit. Whoops. Let me move that That's interesting. Trying to move the whole thing over, but without going into another window. Maybe we can do it that way. There we go. Okay, and we'll give you a chat. I won't give you a chat. I'll open up my chat window so I can see if someone has some like urgent message, like they're dying or something like that during the class. We wouldn't want that. Okay, so let's go. So this is a discussion again between Brajanath and the Babaji. So Brajanath asks, can persons disciplined in the rules of Varnashram born in Aryan families become qualified for bhakti? So he's asking this about himself because he's a qualified Brahmin in the Varnashram system and wonders, can I be qualified for bhakti? Because it previously was explained everyone's qualified for bhakti. There's no caste distinction in bhakti. But he's asking this question because in Varnashram they have to do all this stuff that's like, in one sense, a deviation. Many of the things are actually a deviation in the sense that they keep one from chanting. Babaji said, any human being is suitable to attain qualification for bhakti. Brajanath said, I see that persons situated in Varnashram have two duties, to observe the rules of Varnashram and to perform bhakti dharma. Those who are not situated in Varnashram must only oversee the angas of bhakti. Anga means the branch. If that is so, it is more difficult for those situated in Varnashram, since they must follow the angas of karma and bhakti. How can that be? Now here Babaji explains this. For a person qualified for pure bhakti is situated in Varnashram, or a person who is situated in Varnashram, again an editing mistake, only the angas of bhakti must be performed. In observing the angas of bhakti alone, the angas of karma are definitely observed. In other words, you don't have to do all these things that you think you have to do because you wanted to be in Varnashram. Just do bhakti, Prabhu. Where the angas of karma are independent of and contrary to the angas of bhakti, there's no fault in not performing them. The person qualified for bhakti by nature has no desire for akarma, that means avoiding karmas, or sometimes it means good karma, or vikarma, performing sins. If by chance he commits forbidden acts, he should not observe atonements prescribed in karma. Forbidden acts in this particular context, Prabhus, means that he forgets to say his Sandhya Vandana. You know, the Brahmin stuff like Surya Namaskar, stuff like that. Forbidden acts in terms of Varnashram, not forbidden acts in terms of the regular principles. It's not what it's referring to. If a person has bhakti in his heart, the sin committed by accident cannot remain in his heart. It will be quickly and easily destroyed. Thus, atonements are not necessary. Brajanath said, how does the person qualified for bhakti relinquish debts to the devatas, sages, etc.? Because as explained, that we have debts not only to the devatas, sages, to our parents. Oh my God, so many debts. So, how do we can actually pay the debts to the parents according to Varnashram by having children who perform pinda. But when we chant, there's no need of performing pinda. Babaji said, consider this verse from the 11th canto of Bhagavatam. Famous verse. Devarshi bhutapta nrinam pitrinam na kinkarunayam rini charajan saratmanam yaksharanam sharanyang gatom kundam paritritya kartam. O king, one who has given up varnashram duties and has taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not a debtor to or a servant of the devatas, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, or pitris. Pitris means forefathers. That's from the Bhagavatam 11.541. Just serve Krishna. Don't get into all these different rituals. I mean, sometimes devotees, they just want to get into all these rituals because they think that there's some magic bullet or there's some thing they just need to do that will give them that secret entry into Goloka Vrindavan. Secret entry ain't secret. It's just chant Hare Krishna and serve Prabhupada. By serving Prabhupada, you get the entry into Goloka Vrindavan. Oh my God, by pleasing Prabhupada. The conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is this: I will be free from all sin. I will free, from all sin the person who gives up all the dharmas and surrenders to me. The conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is this. Of course, that's Sarvadhamma Purichaja. When a person develops qualification for pure bhakti, he is not obligated to follow the rules of jnana or karma scriptures. Wow. Everything is accomplished simply by cultivating bhakti. One should understand that the promise of the Lord, my devotee will not perish, stands above everything else. Kunteya pratijannihi name bhakta pranashati. O Kunti, or son of Kunti, you should declare it boldly that my devotee will never perish. That's from the Bhagavad Gita, of course, to Arjuna. Hearing this together, Brajanath and Vijay Kumar said, we have no doubts in our hearts concerning bhakti. We have understood that jnana and karma are insignificant. Without the mercy of Bhakti Devi, there's no auspicious sadhana for the jiva. Prabhu means master. Actually, the word Prabhu can be used in relationship to all devotees, not only brahmacharis and grahastas, but also sannyasis can be called Prabhu. Prabhu means master. Haha Prabhu Nanda Sutta Vrishabhanu Sutta Yuta. So Krishna is called Prabhu because he's the master. Ishvara Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arasabda Vricha. Ishvara Panama Krishna. Please describe all the angas of bhakti. We will be successful. Babaji said, oh, Brajanath, you have heard up to the 8th verse of Dashamula. I will speak all this to your uncle some other time. Seeing him, my heart has become joyful. Hear the 9th verse of the Dashamula. Shruti Krishnakyanam Smarananati Puja Vedigannas Tatha Dashyam Satyam Paricharanam Apyatmatadadam Navangani Tani Havirigata Bhaterani Dinam Bhajan Shraddha Yuktasu Vimala Ratim Vaisa Labhate. One attains pure love and attachment, Rati, for the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna by daily executing with faith the process of Vaidhi Bhakti. That's the rules and regulations, which consists of the following 9 limbs. This is called Nava Bhakti, which means 9 Bhakti. 1. This is the famous verse from the Bhagavatam, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, etc. Shravanam, hearing the glories of the Lord, chanting the glories of the Lord, remembering the Lord, serving his lotus feet, Padasevanam, worshipping the Lord, Archanam, offering prayers, Vandanam, becoming a servitor of the Lord, servitor of the Lord, Dasham, prayers, we actually said that already. Considering the Lord one's Rem Sakyam and surrendering oneself completely to the Lord, which is called Atma Nivedanam. Shravana, that's the first of the processes, which are mentioned here, means using the ear to hear spiritual descriptions of the Lord's names, form, qualities, and pastimes, because all these things are non-different from Krishna. It has 2 states. One type is hearing about Krishna's qualities from the mouths of devotees previous to developing faith. From this hearing, faith develops. When faith develops, one develops a tendency to hear Krishna's name, etc., with great thirst. Later, one hears Krishna's name, etc., from the mouth of a Vaishnava or Guru. This is the second type of hearing. That means when one has faith. Shravana, or hearing, is one of the branches anga of pure bhakti. By hearing from the mouth of Guru and Vaishnava during sadhana practice, hearing at the time of perfection arises. Shravana is the first anga, or branch of bhakti. Hearing is the first branch of bhakti. When the sound of the Lord's name, form, qualities, and pastimes touches the tongue, it is called kirtan. In other words, when you start chanting. That's obviously, it's a poetic expression, touches the tongue. Having others hear topics about Krishna, his name, descriptions, and recitation of scriptures, and attracting others by songs expressing one's humility, and treaties, recitation of verses, and prayers are types of kirtan. It is stated that kirtan is the best anga among all angas. Especially in Kali Yuga, kirtan is able to give auspiciousness to all jivas. This is described plentifully in the scriptures. So that's the Yuga Dharma. Krishna Kirtan, isn't it? Kali Kalera Dharma, Krishna Nama Sankirtana. Sankirtan means complete chanting, absorbed chanting, and also means chanting with other people. Jayan Kriteyachan Yagnas Tritayam Dvaparer Chayan Yadapnoti Tadapnoti Kalo Sankirtya Keshavam. In Satya Yuga, these are the different yugas. Yuga means like the different time frames on the earth. In Satya Yuga, the supreme goal of human life was achieved through meditation, just sitting there and just meditating, which nobody can do nowadays. In Treta Yuga, the next time frame in the history of the world, through the offering of sacrifices, Poo, Swaha, Swaha, and in Dwapara Yuga through deity worship in the temples. Of course, we do those things, but they're not really the prime methodology. Actually, by chanting, all these things are accomplished. In Kali Yuga, the supreme goal is achieved only through the Sankirtan of Krishna Nama. That's from the Padma Purana, 671, 24 to 25. There's no method which can purify the heart like kirtan. When many devotees join together and chant, it is called Sankirtana. So, that's kirtan. That's the second process. Now we get to the third process. Remembering Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes is called smarana. Smarana has 5 types. Searching out something in the mind is called smarana. After pulling the heart from previous objects and concentrating the mind in a peaceful way is called dharana. Contemplating particularly on the form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord is called dhyana, or meditation. Unbroken meditation, flowing like a stream of nectar, is called dhruvanu smriti. Manifesting the form of the Lord in the mind is called samadhi. These are the 3 stages of remembering. Smarna means remembering. Okay. So in other words, to reiterate, the first stage of smarta is called smarta, remembering. And then when you're able to concentrate the mind in a peaceful way, you're no longer concentrate on things in this world, there it's dharana. And when you're really able to contemplate a particular form and meditate on that, that's called dhyana, and activities of that form, or meditation. And when the meditation gets unbroken, not by any external influence, it's called dhruvanu smriti. And when you're actually able to manifest Krishna's form in the mind, it's called samadhi. Okay, so that's the 5 branches of smarana. Shravana, Kirtana, and Smarta are the 3 principal angas of bhakti. In other words, most important. All the other angas are included within them. Of the 3, Kirtan is the chief one, since Shravana and Smarta are included in Kirtan. Yeah, that's what I've been saying all along. If you chant, you'll remember Krishna automatically. And if you chant, you're going to be hearing. There's no way if you chant out loud you're not going to hear, isn't it? And especially when you have chanting with other devotees, Sankirtan, and you're chanting, then they're responding. That's a method that Prabhupada taught us. Chant, response, so you're hearing, chanting, and remembering. According to the Bhagavatam statement, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Pada Seva, that's the Bhagavatam statement, is actually Prahlad Maharaj's verse. Pada Seva, Padanam, serving the lotus feet, or Padicharya, is the fourth anga of bhakti. Along with Shravana, Kirtan, Smarana, Pada Seva is necessary. In other words, serving the lotus feet. What does it mean to serve the lotus feet? We hear all this about feet now. In performing Pada Seva, one should think one is worthless. In other words, that's approaching Krishna humbly for service. And think of the Satchitananda, eternity, full of knowledge, full of bliss, of the form of the Lord. This is very necessary. In this anga, seeing the deity, touching the deity, doing parikrama, following behind the deity and seeing the temple, Ganga, that is Ganges, Jagannath Puri, Dwarka, the holy place, Mathura, and Navadvipa included. Rupa Goswami has perfectly described this when listing the 64 angas of bhakti. Serving Tulsian devotees is also included in this anga. Pada Sevana. Certainly when you serve the devotees are situated at Krishna's lotus feet. Wow. So that's Pada Sevana. Who's at Krishna's lotus feet? The devotees, Prabhupada. Okay, the next branch of bhakti is called Archana, which is deity worship. There are many considerations regarding qualification and rituals of deity worship. It's interesting, the Pada Sevanam and the Archana sort of overlap to a large degree. I mean, sometimes it says, if we go back to Pada Sevana, it talks, following behind the deity. It would also be dancing for the deity, touching the deity. I mean, that's really, in one sense, very connected with deity worship. There are many considerations regarding qualification and rituals of deity worship, Archana. When faith in deity worship arises while being fixed in Shravana, Kirtan, and Smarana after accepting mantra Diksha, while taking shelter at the lotus feet of Guru, one should perform the rituals of deity worship. Now, what is mantra Diksha? Diksha, okay. Divya Shah. So Diksha means to get transcendental knowledge and to be relieved from this material world. Mantra Diksha means you're given specific mantras for worshiping particular deities. And these mantras are not exactly secret mantras, but they're personal mantras. Not personal in the sense that you only get some of your own mantras, but they're personal in the sense of coming from the Guru and the Sampradaya. They're not the same mantras in every Sampradaya, or from all the Acharyas, even within one Sampradaya, which is quite an interesting phenomena. But under the direction of Srila Prabhupada, everybody who gets the mantras, that's second initiation for those of you who don't know, everybody who gets the mantras should be chanting get the same mantras. Not that I can decide, hey, I'd like to give you another 20 mantras. No, Prabhupada gave us 7 mantras. 7 mantras in deity worship, for doing deity worship. There's the understanding the Lord is all-pervading, then there's the Guru mantras, that, of course the Brahma Gayatri is the first one, then there's the Guru mantra, there's the Gora mantra, etc. And the Gopal mantra, like that. So you have all these different mantras that are given in our Sampradaya, and by Prabhupada. Actually, sometimes in our Sampradaya there's a different number of mantras. that are given by different acharyas. But Prabhupada has given us these specific mantras, and Prabhupada is our founder acharya. So Prashanath asked a very interesting question. What is the difference between the name and the mantra? Okay. The name of the Lord is the life of the mantra. In making mantras, the sages have manifested special powers from the name after combining the name with words like Namaha and also Om and also Ayam and also Klim. These are seed words, or Namaha means obeisances, and establishing a specific relationship with the Lord. In other words, the sages and the Lord, who is the sager of the sages, Param sage. So have arranged these mantras utilizing the names of the Lord, okay, how about that, to establish a specific relationship with the Lord. And you see that in the mantras that we get in disciplic succession. They establish us in a specific relationship. Of course, there's the begin with the Guru Mantra. With the Guru Mantra, you obviously establish us a relationship with this Pada Sevanam. The name of the Lord is an independent tattva. In other words, the name in the mantra is an independent, but it's utilized in the mantra to develop a specific relationship. Everybody understand that? I hope so. However, the jiva's heart is agitated by material objects related to the body, etc. With the intention of restricting the heart, rules for chanting the mantras are prescribed on the path of respect. Maryada Marg. What that means? Oh, but Maryada means like ethical principles, or manners. Manners, Marga means path, the path of manners. Diksha, that's the second initiation, is very necessary for materialists to chant the mantras. For Krishna mantras, however, it is not necessary to consider Sajja Siddha or Sushita Siddha. Now let's see what. So, of course, Sajja means the goal, Siddha means perfection, and Susiddha would mean very perfected or complete perfection. Let's see how they describe that. Doesn't really explain that there. Okay, we'll see if it explains it later on. Diksha with Krishna mantras most auspicious for the jiva. Of the many mantras in this world, the mantras of Krishna are the strongest. When a qualified person obtains a mantra from a qualified guru, the jiva attains strength from Krishna. The guru explains everything about deity worship to the inquisitive disciple. It is not necessary to explain all this here. To summarize, one should know that observing Krishna's birth, Kartika Brat, that means the vows. Krishna's birth is Janmashtami, of course. Kartika is a special month, the Damodar month, where you do certain things, take certain vows. Ekadashi Vrata, vow. So Vrata means a vow. In other words, at least chant more, don't eat grains, at least that. Taking bath during the Magha month are all included in deity worship. You must say, but I take bath all the time. Well, the Magha month is very cold in India, and you've got to take bath without your hot water that you're so attached to utilizing when you take a bath. You enjoy. It's cold, but and you do it without heat. Not that you have to do it without heat, but in India, you don't have a choice in certain circumstances. In discussing deity worship, there's one special item. One must worship Krishna's devotees along with worshiping Krishna. That is why Prabhus, when I have devotees do deity worship, they start with Prabhupada. Got it. They don't start with the deities. You go up. That's the way Prabhupada taught us. Not going down, you go up. Vandana, the next one, is the sixth anga, or branch of devotional service and practice, Vaidhi Bhakti. Though this is included in Padasevana and Kirtana. In other words, they're both kirtans, prayers, sorry. It is mentioned as a separate anga. Often respects namaskar. Dandavats Prabhu! There are two types, using one limb or using 8 limbs. Offering respects with using one hand, offering respects while the body is covered, offering respects in front of the Lord, behind him, or on the left side, or within the deity room are considered to be offenses. In other words, the reason is you don't want to show your feet to the Lord. That's it. Then the next branch is called dasha. What is dasha? Dasha means identity. I'm Krishna's servant. To perform bhajana with dasha is the best. Offering respects, namaha, offering praises, offering all karmas, your activities, karma here means activities, menial service to the deity, paricharya, proper conduct, remembrance, and hearing topics are included in dasha. So you see, many of these different items, they overlap. In fact, I think they all overlap in one way or the other. Then Sakya is the 8th anga. Sakya means friendship. Sakya means acting for Krishna's benefit in a friendly manner. There are 2 types of Sakyas, as part of Vaidhi and as a part of Raganuga. Here only Sakya as a part of Vaidhi is accepted. Sakya, which is possible as part of deity worship, is Vaidhi Sakya. In other words, Krishna says in the Gita, what he said, Muktaram Jagatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarvabhutanam Getwamam Shanti Mrachati. One should understand, he's everyone's well-wisher, he's our friend. Surit. That he's our Sakya. And the final one is the 9th process. It's called Atma Nivedana, means surrender to the self, is the 9th anga. Offering everything from the body up to the pure Atma to Krishna is called Atma Nivedana. That's mentioned by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Manasadeha Geha Yokishamor Apilam Tuya Nanda Apilam Tuya Pade Nanda Kishore. My mind, my body, my words, everything is yours, Krishna. The quality of Atma Nivedana is doing nothing for oneself and everything for Krishna. Just as a cow which has been sold does not do activities to look after itself. One should be obedient to the desire of Krishna and feel one's desire is to be dependent on his desires. That's a pretty high standard there, isn't it? That's, of course, really the highest standard. Atma Nivedana. Absolute surrender. An example of Atma Nivedana in Vaidhi Bhakti is this. This is the verse from the Bhagavatam. Savarimana Krishna Padaravindayo Vajamsi Vakanta Gudana Varnane Oro Hare Mandira Marjanadishu Shrutim Chikara Chuta Satkatodaya Vakundra Lingailaya Darshane Darsho Tadvritjagatra Sparshenge Sangamam Granam Chatatpara Saroja Soribe Srimatulasha Rasanam Tararpite Padohare Kshetra Padhanu Sarpane Shiro Rishikesha Padabhivandane Kamam Chadashe Natu Kama Kamyaya Yatotama Shloka Janashraya Ratihi. Maharaji Ambarish always engaged his mind in meditating on the lotus feet of Krishna, his words in describing the glories of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the Lord's temple, and his ears in hearing the words spoken by Krishna or about Krishna. He engaged his eyes in seeing the deity of Krishna, Krishna's temples, and Krishna's places like Mathura and Vrindavan. He engaged his sense of touch in touching the bodies of the Lord's devotees. He engaged his sense of smell in smelling the fragrance of Tulasi offered to the Lord. And he engaged his tongue in tasting the Lord's prasada. He engaged his legs in walking to the holy places in the temples of the Lord, his head in bowing down before the Lord, and all his desires in serving the Lord without desiring material enjoyment in order to develop rati as possessed by great devotees. Hearing this much from Babaji, Brajanath and Vijay Kumar offered respects and said, Prabhu, you are directly an associate of the Lord. Hearing the nectar of your teachings, we have become fortunate. We have spent our days having useless pride in our Varna knowledge by the strength of piles of Sukriti, of many, that means devotional service, of many lives we have obtained the shelter of your feet. Vijay Kumar said, O best of devotees, Vrindavan Das Thakur instructed me to see the Yoga Pith in Mayapur. By his mercy today I have attained success in the form of seeing an associate of the Lord and seeing the abode of the Lord. By your mercy tomorrow evening I will come again. The old Babaji, on just hearing the name of Vrindavan Das Thakur, fell on the ground, offered respects to him, and said, I offer repeated respects to the avatar of Vyasadeva and Chaitanya's pastimes. It was getting late. Brajanath and Vijay Kumar returned to Brajanath's house. So now you can see that these two personalities are not ordinary personalities, having appeared in Navadvip, first of all. And then Vijay Kumar having the association of Vrindavan Das Thakur, and Brajanath having this amazing name. Even Vijay Kumar. I mean, these are both spiritual names, even before they were initiated. Brajanath. That's Krishna. That's the name of Krishna. Brajanath. Okay. So the next chapter, we can start it. I guess we have some time. Is called Chapter 20. Vaida Sadhana Bhakti. I wonder if it should be called Vaidi Sadhana. Anyway, Vaida Sadhana. That means devotional service in practice. Brajanath, of course, Brajanath is the nephew and Vijay Kumar is his uncle. Got it? And just to reiterate a little bit of the story, is that previously Vijay Kumar, who was performing devotional service for his whole life, didn't really realize that Brajanath had given up all of his intellectual word jugglery and taken up pure devotional service. But when he came and visited Brajanath, then he saw that Brajanath had become a great devotee. And Brajanath became a great devotee by the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Brajanath and Vijay Kumar, and remembering Lord Chaitanya. He actually started his devotional service just by remembering Lord Chaitanya and hearing that Lord Chaitanya was a better philosopher than him. And he just became absorbed in Lord Chaitanya, and then after a while gave up his desire to engage in philosophy. Brajanath and Vijay Kumar returned home by 2 praharas. That's a time sequence. Brajanath's mother served tasty prasad with great care to her brother. After the meal, the uncle and nephew began discussing many topics with affection. Brajanath explained all that he had previously heard to his uncle. Blissful on hearing this, Vijay Kumar said, You are most fortunate. You have heard these topics from a great soul. Hearing about bhakti in the Lord produces auspiciousness, but if it comes from the mouth of a great devotee, it gives very quick results. You are learned in all scriptures, especially in Nyaya, that's logic. You are without a second. You were born in an elevated Brahmin family. You are not without wealth. All the wealth is your ornament now, since you have attained attraction for hearing about Krishna while surrendering to the feet of great Vaishnavas. So Vijay Kumar is appreciating the devotion of his nephew. While the two were sitting in the Durga temple hall discussing, Rajanath's mother came to the side of the room quietly and said to Vijay Kumar, Brother, you have come after a long time. Please make sure that your nephew gets married. Seeing his behavior, I have a great fear that he will not marry. Oh my God, what a disaster. The matchmaker Bhattacharya has brought many matches, but Brajanath refused them and will not marry. My mother-in-law tried, but could not succeed. Hearing his sister's words, Vijay Kumar said, I will stay for 10 to 15 days. Deliberating on it, I will tell you the situation. Now go inside. When her mother had entered inside, Vijay Kumar again began discussing spiritual matters. The day passed in long discussions. The next day after eating, Vijay Kumar said to Rajanath, "Today in the evening let us go to Shiva Sangha and hear a description of the 64 angas of bhakti, 64 branches of bhakti of Sri Rupa Goswami from Babaji. May I have your association birth after birth, Rajanath. If I did not have your association, I would not have obtained sweet teachings." Babaji said that there are two paths in sadhana bhakti, Vaidhi Marg and Raga Marg. We are, practically speaking, qualified for Vaidhi Marg. Before hearing teachings on Raga Marg, we should start our activities of sadhana by carefully understanding Vaidhi Marg. Vaidhi Marg means the path of rules and regulations. Raga Marg means the path of attraction. So in other words, first you got to follow the rules and regulations so you can develop attraction. So what we're going to read later on as we're progressing through this book is we're going to actually read about how quickly these two devotees progressed to Raga Marg and Bhava Bhakti. Anyway, usually it's not that fast. So don't get your expectations up too much. I cannot understand how to start the activities after hearing Babaji's explanations of the 9 types of bhakti yesterday. Today I must understand all this. In other words, he doesn't know, where do we start from? Where are we going to start from? So that's a good question. And they both understand they're qualified at this point for Vaidhi Marg, but rules and regulations. They're not yet spontaneous. As they discussed various topics, finally the sun began to set. The two devotees eventually arrived at Srivas Angan while chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Offering respects to the group of Vaishnavas, they entered the Babaji's kutir. Seeing the two inquisitive devotees, Babaji embraced them and had them sit on banana bark seats, not trees. The two devotees offered respects and sat down. After discussing various topics, they asked the questions they desired. So, just on time, we finished. It's time to actually take questions. So they went through a lot today. He went through basically the 9 processes of devotional service. And we heard a little bit of the story about Vijay Kumar and Brajanath, and this will be an ongoing story, and we're going to see whether Brajanath actually gets married or becomes a renunciate, and what happens with Vijay Kumar. Very interesting. Okay, let me allow you all to unmute yourselves. Okay, who has a question? You can raise your hand. You can unmute yourself if you are bold, or you can just, if you're just shy as anything, you can type in the chat window. Hey, Madhava, you have a question.
Krishna Dandot, Gurudev's long time I was able to come and hear you. It was so pleasing. But quickly getting back to question, I know it's a very silly question from me, but I think earlier you mentioned about Prabhu, the word Prabhu, when it says Krishna, master, and you can use this word for brahmachari and sannyasi and so on and so forth. So a lot of times I speak for myself. Even somehow I've gotten this habit, even the ladies I address Prabhu, not Mataji. I haven't gotten into it. So is it incorrect? What's your thought?
Oh, with ladies. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the point is Prabhupada actually sometimes wrote Malati Prabhu or Govinda Prabhu, in relationship to ladies. Technically in Sanskrit, the feminine would be Prabhi, which would actually be the technical Sanskrit. So, but as far as the nomenclature, Yeah, Prabhu is nice. I mean, the interesting thing is, of course, there's a whole discussion that goes on in ISKCON. Like, if you're going to call Matajis Matajis, then you have to call the men Pitajis or something like that to be equal. So, but I think, anyway, it's a little controversial. But let's say if you're addressing both groups at the same time, the men and the women, or the people in male bodies and female bodies, like you're saying, let the men sit here and the women sit here. You shouldn't say the Prabhu should sit here and the Mataji should sit there, because that's an improper. That's actually an insult to the women to call one group of Prabhus and the other group, just in terms of their physical manifestation, their material manifestation. So, yeah, Papa G's. Anyway, so it has to be equal. When you're referring to both groups, when you're referring to ladies individually, you can say Mataji if you want, or Prabhu, Pravi, whatever. Uh, or problem is, Prabhupada sometimes would say, when he was calling the ladies to chant, he would say ladies. Probably just say ladies. He probably we usually wouldn't say Mataji's chant. He'd say ladies chant. So, but actually, if you're referring to both groups in the same sentence, you should use equal terms, either spiritual terms or material terms. You understand? If you're going to use material terms, you can say males and females. Males sit here, females sit there. If you're going to use spiritual terms, Prabhu, then it has to be Prabhu sit here, Prabhu sit there. Then it has to be equal. The whole point is that we shouldn't discriminate against someone because of their body, because that is actually bordering on offenses. And because we have to be aware of the bodies, you can't say, that children are not children or whatever, and treat the children the same as adults. I mean, just that doesn't make sense. But at the same time, we have to show equal respect to all devotees of Krishna, male or female. If terminology shows disrespect to one of the two, then that terminology can be deemed to be, at least borderline offensive. It's an interesting statement.
Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, good question. One that's rearing its head up in ISKCON constantly, What should we call ladies? What should we call the men? Monsters. We'll write a book. Men, monsters or masters. I have a book I'm writing, men, monsters or men. That's funny. Yeah, anyway, I'm not going to tell you the reference to it, monsters. Monsters. Right, so, okay. Uh, enough humor. So, who else has a question? Question, you can raise your hand, or you can, let's see, what else can you do? Or you can unmute yourself, or if you're really shy, you can just type in the text window, not to everybody, just to me, so I can see your question. If, if no one if no one has a question, we'll give you another minute, half a minute. Then, okay. So, not exactly a half minute. But anyway, so if no one has a question, we can end like 3 minutes early. Okay, thank you very much. All glory is to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Srila